North America on the northern border of the country of Mexico, where it's all happening, folks. It's all happening. Donald John Trump ran a few years ago for president of the United States, and he said, build a wall. We got to build a big, beautiful wall. And he was kind of like, well, yeah, we need immigration. We need to sure. Wait, you mean after 9/11, people are just still waltzing across the border? Well, cut to a few years later, that steel that was built and paid for, it was crafted and designed and delivered to the location to finish building the proper mechanisms so that one can, I don't know, check the IDs of the nightclub before the patrons enter. Well, that's rusting at the border. That's being sold for pennies on the dollar. The gates are literally being welded open, and people from God knows where, with God knows what intentions, are now streaming across the border to the United States at a time where we're still being told Ukraine is the most important thing happening on Earth. Well, we beg to differ. We find ourselves on the crossroads of a foreign invasion. It brings me no joy to tell you such things. At a time where we're poking a nuclear bear in Russia, where the power could go out at any moment. Let's just say 3 strategically placed nuclear equipped, let's just call them balloons, flotation devices floating across the heartland and the West Coast, East Coast, spread out the right way. Read the book 1 Second After by William Forstchen and forward by Newt Gingrich. That's all it takes, and it sets you back to the Stone Age. And by the way, as soon as the grid goes down, that's when the sleeper cells are activated, because we've had an overthrow of the United States of America, and this is how it plays out with a whimper. It's slightly important that we discuss this, so that's why we're together today. My name is Brian Engelman.
And I'm Blake Walley.
It is Tuesday, September 26th, 2023. And we have a lot to discuss on today's show. Make sure that you follow.
So many things to discuss. We couldn't even get captions for everything yet.
All right. That's the damn truth of it, Blake. Yeah, we put in all the captions, and there's still 5 more big stories that we have to get to. So, yeah, welcome to a jam-packed show. Let's jump right in. Yes, indeed. As that awesome graphic does represent, we are the new American media because the old American media has failed you. And that is an upside down flag because that is the internationally understood symbol of we are a nation in distress. We have been taken over. We have been overthrown. We are in great peril. It's an SOS, if you will. Blake, let's jump to the top here and discuss what all the hullabaloo is about with Biden's. It's Barack Obama's 3rd and most honest term. He did promise we were 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. Joe Biden is completely corrupt and 90% gone mentally. He's a shell of himself, a literal marionette, sock puppet dancing on the strings of Barack Obama. And we are now seeing the ramifications of all of the Biden handlers that are ramming through policy, starting with Mayorkas and working its way outward into a weird spider web. Blake, let's discuss this. Agree or disagree that the border invasion is intentional for the American replacement? We're treading into dangerous territory, aren't we? Because that's the phrase. They love to say you're crazy, and they like to use the R word if it's mentioned, right? That's the big one. What say you?
Yes, I am going to agree on that until they can actually explain what our border policy is. You just can't ignore it. And then when people point out the problems and just to call them racist for saying there's a replacement theory and thousands of people trying to get into this country every day, and they're being allowed right in. Millions of people so far, just 3 years into this Biden administration or Obama extension administration. They didn't, they had to get rid of Trump, make sure that they could reopen the border, which is bad. But, it's great to have a solid immigration policy because this is a country of immigrants, but there's a right way and a wrong way. And it seems this administration is intent on doing things the wrong way. And it just gets worse every day while they pretend like there's nothing happening. So I'm going to just stop this part really where I got the title per se, or of this question from Health Ranger Mike Adams on Twitter, saying it's an invasion. It's all deliberately engineered as replacements for Americans. And new footage here is showing trainloads of military-age males currently en route to the U.S. border. This is not normal. No, this does not seem normal. This is not.
Oh, Blake, we gotta add the screen. We gotta double click now.
All right, make sure if I'm not, just hit that radio.
Yeah,
button.
I was double checking the YouTube channel. I was double checking the Facebook feed, and then I noticed that it wasn't up. We got it.
No worries. Yes. All right, but here is, the latest visuals, and there's many. I mean, this is just one of them here, but this is obviously something that people around this country need to see, because I don't think a lot of people are getting this from their nightly news, as the leftist, the legacy media tends to ignore these things. So here's another one from Tom Fitton. It's the same thing. The destabilizing and dangerous invasion of the United States is aided and abetted by Joe Biden, who just announced he would lawlessly grant a form of amnesty to 500,000 illegals from Venezuela. Sure enough, thousands more are coming to take advantage of Biden's anti-America immigration lawlessness. Let me just run this video while I'm talking. Besides the full defunding of Biden's using of tax dollars to help illegal aliens invade our nation, the House must ensure that the new multi-committee impeachment inquiries of Biden urgently and immediately include his utter abandonment of his oath of office with respect to illegal immigration. This is the Fox News video, the stunning video of hundreds more of migrants making their way to the top of trains, some waving a Venezuelan flag, en route to the U.S. border in Eagle Pass, Texas. And shall we continue? How about yes?
By the way, as we continue here, let's also take a moment to repeat what Jocelyn just had to say. By the way, thank you all for joining us in the show. It's one of my favorite things. I can't speak for Blake, but I love getting your instant feedback to all the stuff that we're discussing. It really is my favorite part of the show. But Jocelyn is saying, she says we send all illegal aliens of military age to Ukraine. They're asking for replacement troops, where soldiers on the front have a life expectancy of 4 hours. So, if that's what they're looking for, I'm America first. I have no interest fighting in Ukraine. These people invading our country that are not going through proper immigration channels are showing zero respect for our country. If I just waltzed into somebody else's home, in their backyard, in their back door rather, I wouldn't expect a wonderful treatment from any of them. So,
well, I've always wanted to visit Europe, Brian. Do you think I could just go there and get a free phone and thousands of dollars of monthly income for my family? And I could just go there and stay there whenever?
Europe is having this same invasion as well. This is very planned.
Yeah, it seems to be the case as they lower our standards and bring us into the new globalism, the new world order, as it may be. But I don't know if I can sit here and call this racism anymore. This is a massive problem that they can no longer hide. We are bursting at the seams, even in New York, which we're going to get to. But I'll just finish this up.
I will no longer entertain seriously a human being that wants to discuss the border with the R word. If they utter that word once, they're intellectually dishonest, and I'm done with that person. As all of you should with people who act this way. That's it. You cut them off. You laugh at them. You just laugh at them. They must be ridiculed. They must be mocked. It's the Cloward and Piven way. They made up the rules for those radicals. Well, guess what? Their radicalism is messing up our way of life. It's time we apply them equally. We mock them. We scorn them openly and only. There is no honest debate between someone that's going to try to use the R word in terms of just putting a bouncer at the gates to check the IDs and the purpose of everybody coming and going. That is common sense. Anything else is globalist politics. And I will not engage with these people. I will not take them even remotely seriously anymore. And none of us should. We really have to disconnect from the news sources that are lying to us and that are gaslighting us and that are just name calling people that want to slow down and stop human trafficking, people who don't want a single criminal to waltz through here and continue in their criminal ways, messing with your friends, your families, your neighborhoods, your cities. You're seeing it in Chicago. You're seeing it in New York. You're seeing it all across Texas. This is insanity, and it's exactly what Barack Hussein Obama has always wanted. We're seeing exactly what his plan was coming to fruition in this third Barack Obama term. This is all of the handlers around Biden. Biden is not in charge of this, folks. This is Barack Obama and the globalists. They want to merge and blend cultures. They don't want differences in countries. They want one united concept. And there is no sovereignty. There are no freedoms. There's no self-defense. There's no transportation. There's social credit scores. There's no money. None of this leads to anything good. So, yeah, I'm just not engaging with anyone that uses the R word in this debate.
Yeah, that time has passed. So they got to play around with that, but now they can't sit there and just deny the overwhelming evidence that's coming out on this. And even in New York, which we're going to get to very quickly, just to follow up with the Tom Fitton, who was talking about Venezuela, is also from Mike Adams. Biden regime offering nearly 500,000 jobs to Venezuelan migrants that just, flood through the border. Not because, we had a labor shortage and we really needed 500,000 people to, work on farms and build infrastructure, and the Venezuelans stepped up, and it's a big win-win. It's not a win-win. We don't have enough jobs in this country. We can barely take care of our own, and then we're just going to let the borders wide open. They continue to pour across the border by the tens of thousands to get relocated to New York City and other Democrat strongholds by Republican leaders. The bureaucrats who run said Democrat strongholds have resorted to begging fake President Joe Biden to offer all of these undesirables work permits so they can get out of the elites' backyards as quickly as possible. And Biden is complying. So, 470,000 work permits to Venezuelan migrants who qualify for them will allow these illegals to enter the workforce. And all Venezuelan migrants who arrive by the U.S. by July 31st are eligible for the program, which is known as temporary protected status. Give them 18 months, and I doubt that they're going to be sent back. So
Jocelyn is also adding that the illegals coming across farm areas, and they're not migrants. These are illegal aliens. The illegal aliens coming across farm areas in Yuma are destroying crops. Expect food shortages as well. Wow, what a bonus. What a bonus there, Blake.
Yeah, win-win for everybody. Or not. We got this. The Border Patrol head says agency cannot protect the United States because they are forced to process so many illegals.
We are not forced to process shit.
The Border Patrol is. No, if the Border Patrol wants to stop criminals and fentanyl, they're too overwhelmed. They got to sit there and do paperwork and let these people in.
Let them pile up in Mexico. Mexico is complicit in this. It's Mexico's problem. I know it's Joe Biden and Mayorkas and Obama's problem. I know they're the ones causing it. We don't need to process anything. We need to close the antelope gates that have been welded wide open. We need to take the rusting metal and build the damn fence, build the damn wall. We need to put the barricades in the water, double, triple, quadruple barricades, and stock it with alligators. We need to stop this and let it pile up on Mexico's side. That's what we did the last time we had a CEO in charge of America. That's what we did back when we had a real president. It can be done again. We don't need to process anybody. We must. No. What we must do is charge the criminals with the treason they are actively committing each day. Treason, dereliction of duty. Start there.
No, that would be common sense, though, Brian. His administration does not understand that. They're just going to ignore this, and there seems to be the agenda. So it seems like this is an intentional invasion, and there's nothing they can say that would change my mind on that. And even the Border Patrol head, Jason Owens, warned that the agency is unable to protect Americans from hardened criminals smuggling in weapons, drugs, and gang members because it is so overwhelmed processing thousands of immigrants every day.
Nope, we don't need to process a single thing.
Migrant encounters at the southern border are surging once.
But hoping to get us a little B-roll while I was covering this article, but I think we basically get the gist. We're overwhelmed. We're well aware. Even Elon has been chiming in quite a bit. Well, we will run this clip here, which is loud. It's people in New York, a severe crisis. New York City is gearing up now. If I can get this to run. But apparently New York City is gearing up to pay over $1 billion on just hotels over the next 3 years to house illegal immigrants.
Okay, how about hell no? No. How about no?
Well, this is a sanctuary city, and this is what happens.
That's illegal.
This is just the hotel.
That's illegal. Arrest the treasonous people who are trying to claim that they can violate our immigration laws. That's illegal. That's criminal.
Well, it should be, but it's not. And even New York City Mayor Eric Adams estimating the total cost of the migrant crisis will be about $12 billion over the next 3 years, saying we are past our breaking point with more than 57,000 individuals currently in our care on an average night. It amounts to $10 million a day, almost $300 million a month, and nearly $3.6 billion a year. So residents in New York City have had enough. In the video below, some Staten Island locals were arrested for blocking migrant buses. They're so
They want to arrest citizens who are being replaced. That's what they're trying to do in New York?
Yeah, Staten Island is like the only conservative borough, and they're trying to shove migrants there. It's probably not going over well. It's obviously not. But then instead of like saying, yes, let's turn the buses around, put them somewhere else, or maybe stop our policy, they're just going to arrest people for blocking the buses. This is why I could never be a cop. I just couldn't imagine following orders like this. So pretty sad.
Jocelyn saying Mexico is finishing the wall because they expect a civil war and they don't want those illegals back.
Yeah, nobody does. And who are these people? Are they vetted? Or they have skills or anything? What are they bringing to the table here?
Well, you know what they're bringing to the table? None of them have been force vaccinated. None of them have been forced to wear a face diaper. So how about the next time anybody ever tries to shame you out of your job? You know, we really need to remember the companies that kicked people out for their medical autonomy. There are millions of people swarming across the border with no regard for anything. So if someone tries to tell you you must do something for public safety, You got two middle fingers right in the middle of your hands. You just toss them in the air. And you say, I am never listening to you again. You let millions of people flood across our southern border. Piss off for perpetuity. Perpetually. Forever, ever. Forever, ever. Forever, ever. Piss off. You're letting millions just traipse across the border. The ones that aren't gang members, the ones that aren't being trafficked and brutalized in the human trafficking meat market. We know that the others are definitely not getting vetted. Nobody's getting vetted. It's come one, come all. You know, and I used to listen to President Trump speak, and he would say, you know, like, they're sending us rapists, the murderers.
Oh,
you're like, yeah, I know, because I've seen it a couple of times in the news, but like millions of people. Blake, if you had the chance and you were running Mexico or you were running Venezuela, if you're running, wouldn't you dump all of your jails? Just dump them and go, hey, here's our toxic waste. Have at it. And just flush it across the border and wipe your hands clean of the miscreants and the problem makers. Because crime is mostly recidivists. It's usually the same 5% of the people committing 95% of the problems. So once you vacuum them up, it's like, good, now we're set. That's why our cities are collapsing, because they just keep kicking the real criminals out to the streets, leaving the rest of the people to fend for themselves. Saw another grotesque girl get jumped by two dudes video today. I'm seeing this stuff way too often. And then they try to make it difficult for you to walk around with a sidearm so that you can at least be safe in your person traveling amongst the world. Heaven forbid.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being in the big city anymore. I'm just glad to be out of LA and everywhere else until things smooth over. If they ever do, I'm not sure. But yeah, there's going to be some collapsing of these cities as we take ourselves down a peg. It's no longer America first. We got rid of that policy.
That's a good point. You know, no matter how bad our day is going, at least we escaped. We got out of there. I'm not saying out of the frying pan into the fire. It's like, not to say that anywhere we landed is perfect. But thank God we are out of Vegas and Los Angeles. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. I agree.
All right.
So,
well, what else we got? What else? Do you have any more stories on this? Do you want me to bounce to the next topic?
Yeah, I think I'm ready to bounce unless you got something. But yeah, that was a major story last week. But I mean, it's more of the same. And it's, when is it going to stop? I don't know.
And I mean, we touched on this. I didn't know if you had a separate story or if you were able to work that in about sanctuary cities. We did.
Yeah, I think that
talk about Eric Adams and.
Yeah, I think that pretty much tied in there. So yeah, even in New York, even these liberal sanctuary cities, they can't handle it anymore. So it's easy when it's out of sight, out of mind, and it's just Texas. And you can say, oh, they're just racist down in Texas. They don't want brown people there, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, well, let's put them all on buses and send them up there since you welcome them, since you're so great. And then now let's see it. Now they're getting overwhelmed, and they're seeing the actual cost. And the residents have had enough. Even the mayor is freaking out.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about the guy responsible for this. Like I said, this is the Barack Hussein Obama third term, but Joe Biden is the figurehead. Some people think he was elected. Some people think he's calling the shots. Some people think he even got 81 million completely legitimate votes. Ha ha ha. By the way, for countervailing views, please visit cisa.gov/rumor control. That's on the ticker at the bottom of the screen, because some of the social media powers that be, they think they are the only ones allowed to tell you what happened during a election. Also, for anything else, go to the WHO website, who.int and cdc.gov and cdc.gov/vaccine, because the second part of the process of getting mail-in ballots and drop boxes was forced masks and forced inoculations, a totally complete 100% safe and effective vaccine, and they want you to believe that that has nothing to do with the 81 million totally legitimate votes that did or did not occur. Follow all of the stuff on the ticker, please, because that is our disclaimer. Don't listen to us. Don't listen to your own instinct or your own intuition, your own personal moral bearings, your compass that's inside of you. Trust the experts and consider them as countervailing views to what could be dangerous misinformation on our part because of our opinions that are based on fact, but they're opinions. You got to pay attention to their facts, even though their facts are based on opinions and they've been disproven. Yeah, but check them out as countervailing views. So let's talk about the guy who's
cracking down.
President.
Right. Well, yeah, they're cracking down. That's definitely going to be one of our stories coming up later, one of the headlines, as they go after Rumble and start doing some more censorship, as Debster is saying in chat. But, Brian, I don't know if I'm looking at the same caption you are. I think this is one from last week, but it certainly holds true. If war does escalate with Russia, is it time for forced conscriptions?
That's not the one that I have. I have on my screen, it's Joe Biden facing defeat in 24 if RFK runs as a third party. Here, let me unclick it and then re-click it. I set up Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Do you have it now?
I'm not seeing anything now. So it appears that the restream is really still glitchy. I don't know what kind of updates they made. I was trying to blame it on Mercury retrograde, but that's over now. So I don't know what's going on. But they've got some major bugs to work out here.
I'm open to trying another option, Blake. I'm open to trying another option. I've tried and tried.
Everything was great for years. Oh, well. Anyway, we'll figure that out. Maybe I'll have to talk to tech support. Oh, okay, now I'm seeing one, but it's
Bill Gates.
One. Oh, there we go. Is this one Joe Biden facing defeat?
There you go.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go with this one. Joe Biden faces defeat in 24 if RFK Jr. runs as a third-party candidate. Into which, Brian, I am going to agree.
Oh,
maybe. Actually, I really shouldn't agree because I know they have nothing left to lose if they try to steal, if they try to, get the 81 million or some outrageous number. And it's like, wait, how is it possible that Joe Biden got 109 million legitimate votes? I don't know where these people came from. There's not even that many people registered as a Democrat. But somehow, miraculously, he won again. I guess he's the most popular president ever. And if you say anything, you will be censored from the internet forever.
And what is that, Blake? The numbers of illegal aliens who have invaded America is larger than 15 United States states?
Yeah, I think so. If you look at something like 7 million, I'd have to look at the numbers again. But I think that's bigger than Alabama. There's going to be several states where if you took all of those invaders and put them in one place, they would make a large percentage. And you sprinkle that everywhere. Now, if it's one thing if they can keep it under the sanctuary cities, because then it wouldn't matter because of the Electoral College. That's a benefit. They of course they want to get rid of that. And also another scary thing, getting into the deep conspiracy theories. And please check out the World Health Organization or the CDC. But in case that there's a mass die-off, as some of the crazy, kooky conspiracy theorists out there are saying, and that people are going to have such adverse reactions to the jabs that they start falling in droves, that they might themselves have to be replaced. And so maybe that's part of the reason, is that they're afraid that everybody who's been, quadruple boosted with the experimental vax, and they're going to need some of these people, these extra visitors from Venezuela or something. Who's going to vote Democrat if all of these people are no longer there to do anything? Kooky conspiracy theory. So take that with a grain of salt. But
go to who.int and cdc.gov/vaccine and go to cisa.gov/rumor control. Do all your own research. But I was having a conversation about Bronny James in my sports group today.
Oh, yeah.
They said a suspected It's suspected that it was a congenital heart situation. They don't know. They don't know that. They haven't said that that's what happened. They're just saying something is likely, and it's kind of like, well, what are they not saying about the story? Could you imagine if we did lose a big amount of our population, and this is all intentional? And this
my God. Yeah, because there were reports saying like within like 3 to 5 years that there would be millions. With some of those theories, if there's clot shots or heart issues with the myocarditis, there are even prominent people saying no, they're not going to get the 5th booster. They don't trust it. They've seen too many adverse reactions. Let's hold off here and see how this affects us. Because usually you need years and years of study to determine how safe and effective these things really are. And there could be something catastrophic coming if the kooky theories are true. But anyway.
Now, by the way, I wanted to answer the question. Joe Biden faces defeat in 24 if RFK Jr. runs as a third-party candidate. One of the commenters said, Katie Cat said, I don't think RFK Jr. as a third party would win if Trump is running. Now here's what I have to say about this. I would disagree that Joe Biden faces defeat in 24. Joe Biden faces the largest defeat in the history of all defeats. I would expect every single state, including and especially Hawaii, to vote this treasonous, child sniffing, daughter showering, money laundering, meat corpse, this rotting, stinking Obama puppet. I expect all 50 states to demolish Joe Biden. So RFK being a part of it has nothing to do with it. I mean, they have wrung as much dirty, dripping sock water out of their sock as they could with this Joe Biden creature. They're going to toss him aside. I can't believe he's lasted this long. I would not be surprised if he were martyred, and I would unfortunately not be surprised to see if the martyrdom appears as a bit of a Trump supporter takeout job. So then the open war could begin. Joe Biden served his usefulness to the regime. They overthrew the United States of America. Visit CISA.gov/rumor control because they don't think so.
Well, yeah. That's up to the viewer to listen to both sides and figure out what makes most sense to you.
So I think that there's no chance. I'm very curious. I tweeted this out earlier today. I said, isn't it interesting that the voters are pretty clear on the Republican side and the Democrat side? On the Democrat side, it's pretty clear. They're like, we like RFK. On the Republican side, it's pretty clear. They're like, we like Trump. So what does Fox News put together? I believe it was Fox News, wasn't it? They're like, hey, I know what we're going to do. We're going to have a debate between Little Ronnie D, the sanctimonious, and Gavin Newsom, two people that nobody wants. So they're trying to force the candidates upon you. They're trying to jail or kill President Trump, the last president that gave a shit about this place. So I just find it so interesting, Blake. No, I think Hillary, you can't count Hillary out of this thing. And Michelle, a lot of people want to say the Barack Obama spouse is going to get this. They will be the replacement. I don't know. I maybe. Okay. I mean, I guess because you've been doing the thing with Barack for years, that makes you qualified as a president. No, but I mean, hey, it almost got Hillary there. That's all she did, right? Then she got a little spot in New York and got involved in the deep state, but what have you. Yeah, I would not be surprised if it ended up being Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama's mistress or his.
Definitely
his
don't think Hillary's going to do it. I'll disagree with you there. She is already in bad health for a long time. Bill looks like he could die any day. So I don't think they're going to make it through another campaign like that. But I think, there's definitely either Michelle Obama or Gavin Newsom because I don't really see Biden continuing. But to get into this story here, this saying is that Joe Biden faces disastrous defeat if RFK Jr. runs as a third-party candidate. Because it says a third of Democratic voters would likely vote for RFK if he runs as an independent. Now, let me just take a look. Even if it used to say 20%. They used to say 20%, and the Democrats were freaking out because that was a huge, big, a lot of support for this, outsider. And they were going to try to screw him over, not try to have him in the debates. But let's just say, let's take away 20% of Joe Biden. If 20% did, what happens if we take 20% of Joe Biden's votes away? If he got 81 million, 20% is 16 million, right? If my math is correct, that would mean he would only get 65 million votes. Against Donald Trump, all he would need, he got 74 million. So even if he got 70, he would still easily beat Biden if 20% of the Democrats switched to independent to vote for RFK. So if the numbers are legit, and the voting is legit, and there isn't a bunch of thievery or there isn't a bunch of shenanigans, then yeah, technically that would put him over the top. That would be.
But let me add, because we like to laugh at the fact that was he the least or the second least popular on that entire Democrat debate stage? Joseph R. Biden. He was the least or second least popular person until they worked their backroom deals, gave Buttigieg his promise of his position. Everybody closed ranks. Everybody dropped out to back him. We all like to laugh at that very unpopular guy legitimately getting 81 million votes. But let's not forget, that's also not even taking into account all of the potential Donald Trump re-election votes that were disappeared. We're only kind of thinking of it like they added a bunch to Biden who nobody liked. They could have just as easily been taking them away from the most popular president that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, they are pulling all kinds of, they're pulling out all the stops. They have to win and they have to go for it. They've got nothing to lose. So,
because just to reset, and I understand, like we saw Barack Hussein Obama, it was like, hope and change. Hopeity change. Changeity hope. Change. Fundamental transformation of America. There was something exciting there. There was a youthful exuberance, drinking the Kool-Aid, if you will. They quickly figured out that wasn't the case. His poll numbers dropped pretty damn quickly once they realized he's just like all the other New World Order globalist hacks. And Donald Trump kind of came in. It was contentious when he came in. The lies and the frame jobs from the deep state and from Hillary Clinton and from Fusion GPS, Perkins Coie, the dossier, Russian collusion, all of this stuff was happening, but people quickly got to see. It's like, okay, our energy independence is skyrocketing. We're taking care of the border finally. We're bringing manufacturing back home. We're strengthening this country. President Trump ran America like he gave a shit about America. Love him or hate him or somewhere in between. As you got to see him knock out issue after issue, task after task, all while he's being framed relentlessly by the lying legacy media, Fox included, the social media companies that censored anybody trying to stand up for him or tell you the truth about the other people lying. And all of academia brainwashing the kids, the useful idiots, into believing all sorts of their lies. I think 2.5 years in, you saw with President Trump, it was like, he's kind of doing a good job. He's not perfect. He's missed on a whole bunch of things. If some of these distractions weren't constantly swirling around him, he could have gotten a hell of a lot more done. I'll agree with that. And a certain percentage of those things swirling around him were probably created from him being him. You can't be as bombastic as Donald Trump is without causing some of your own fires that you then have to later run around pouring out with, dumping water on to stop them from spreading. But prior to the pandemic being unleashed from Wuhan, remember when I said that the first time and I got censored, and I did a podcast in China Oh, they did not let me get that on the air. That whole segment was deleted off. I got the raw files and I was calling it like it was from the beginning, but it's like everything else. We have the ability to speak these issues into existence and to discuss, digest, and understand what is happening. Our track record's been pretty spot on with this stuff, but when they unleash this from Wuhan, Donald Trump he kind of had America low interest rates, low energy costs, manufacturing was back home. First president in our lifetimes, Blake, that haven't got us into some stupid, undeclared foreign war that sends our neighbors and relatives home in body bags. Yeah, he actually gave a shit about this country, so of course they're trying to take him out. So I don't see Trump as only having the amount of votes that he had last time. I certainly don't buy the line of load of baloney that Joseph R. Biden actually got what they claim he got. I think RFK is the clear front runner. Do you know a single Joe Biden fan, Blake? A single person that thinks he should run and that they would support him? A single person right now?
No, not in my vicinity, but I'm sure that once if the election came down to it and it was, Robinette Biden or Trump, they would definitely still probably vote for Biden. It's brainwashing. It's pretty sad. But would they vote for RFK? I don't know. So if 20% of the Democrats go for RFK, then that would, seal it for Trump. So that's a third party that would actually, make a significant swing and hurt the Democrats. But they did it to themselves because they're screwing over RFK by not letting him debate. So they want to control things, and that might burn them in the end. And as a report, Biden White House terrified of third-party candidates ruining his chances in 2024. So undercut by third-party candidates like Cornel West. And if RFK switches, that would be catastrophic potentially. But they did it to themselves. Anyway, so that's really that story. If we believe in election integrity, if we believe all the votes are legitimate.
Well, here's the problem.
He shouldn't be reelected without all the shit that's happened. Yeah.
You have to be very ready right now to strongly oppose any illegal alien invader getting an identification card. They're trying to get them approved for the election process. Every local election, every statewide election, you must demand instant tightening of the ship. No voter ID, no proof of residency, no vote, period. They're trying in your former state, Minnesota. I saw the story, Blake. They're trying to give all of the invaders, they're trying to give them IDs. And then they want to say, all you need is a state issued ID to be able to vote. You must stop this 100%. You cannot give an inch. And this has to be the number one issue in the country right now, because that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Who's going to want that? Who's going to want to vote for, voter ID, or saying that they would try to get, same day voting if they could. They would get 16-year-olds if they could. They're doing everything they can. So maybe that's obviously a huge part of this, replacing this invasion of immigration, is to get these people able to vote. That will swing the election for them. So they are desperate. They are pulling out all the stops. But I haven't seen any real state fight back yet and change anything with the voting. Like say, hey, we're getting rid of machines. We're going to do same day ballots. Everybody has the day off. We're going to check IDs. They don't care about that stuff. They just want the establishment to win at all costs.
And visit CISA.gov/rumor control, because they want you to have countervailing views. All right. We got a lot to get to. Let's bounce around to the next topic here. Almost ready. Next topic. Almost.
Sure am.
Coming up. You're ready. I'm almost ready. Trying to click the button. There we go. Talking about politics, we're talking about hearts and minds. So Blake, agree or disagree that doxing and swatting political rivals is the best way to win over hearts and minds? Agree or disagree?
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with this, and this is really shows you how badly the Democrats have lost the plot, because it used to be so easy to just shred your political opposition. Well, at least back in those times, especially during like the Bush era and all the crazy neocons going for all the wars. But now things have changed. So it's instead of like trying to beat you with facts and superior logic and ideas, now they just try to get you killed. So as the latest victim, it's actually not Tim Pool this time. They've tried to go after him, I don't know, 15 times. They've had him swatted. Turd. So they're going after a sock puppet account on Twitter, a conservative, cartoon cat. But it's a real person. I don't remember their name, but yeah, they do a good job of riling up the leftists. Now account holder cat turd, sock puppet, swatted after being doxxed by leftist outlets. Cops are everywhere. They're all over Cat Turd Ranch. Is this popped in there? Okay, good. So
I just added it.
Thank you. All righty. So during a Monday afternoon live stream, that would be yesterday, the man behind the conservative account Cat Turd was swatted into the litter box with Jules and Cat Turd. Episode 418, Jules Jones revealed that Cat Turd had been swatted and wouldn't be rejoining the episode. Wouldn't that be weird, Brian, if like right in the middle of our broadcast, like, hey, Brian, there's like, cops all over the place. I'm not sure what's going on, but I got to stop the show. And then later you find out that...
Did you ever read The Stand, Stephen King?
Yeah, you made me watch that movie. It was like 7 hours, and it was cheesy as can be. But yeah, I get it. It was interesting.
To be the millionth person to say it, Blake, the book was better. I mean, it like the book was the book, and it was perfect. But in the movie, I believe it was Kathy Bates' character, she was the radio host. She was the one broadcasting as they burst into her place and told her to stop transmitting. And she said, "This is America. We have a First Amendment here." And you heard, now they're drawing their weapons, and people were listening live. And then you heard all the gunshots, and she was killed. And everybody listening out there heard her execution. And you could tell that the military had taken control, and everything was completely out of control as that pandemic known as Captain Trips spread across the great land. Very similar to today. But yeah, I mean, she was on the air broadcasting during that. And that happened. I was on the phone with a journalist when the U.S. Marshals knocked at my door. That was
an exciting day.
Disconcerting, to say the least. Disconcerting, I would say. It didn't involve me, but I'd rather not have the U.S. Marshals knocking on my door. But I digress. So Cat Turd gets doxxed now. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I feel like there isn't like a leftist that gives me any concern on Twitter. Like I could go toe to toe roast any one of these people. It never would occur to me. Like I enjoy that. I enjoy trolling and calling them out. But there was never a time where I thought, oh man, there's just I want to roast this guy, but I just can't. It's just I'm gonna have to try to call the police and pretend like there's a murder suicide and they have to go to that person's house. Like, let me try to find their address. Let me dox them, and then let me have them swatted, and hopefully they get killed in the raid. Like
Katie Cat, can you explain it though? Katie Cat, she asked, and a free breather said, "Be careful what you wish for." I'm saying, well, who's wishing for what? Because we're discussing it. I don't think either of us are wishing to get swatted or
no. I mean, how does this happen here in this country?
Or raided or whatever. Maybe that comment was for someone else. But Katie was saying, can you define what swatted is? Can you define the term?
All right. Well, doxing is just trying to figure out somebody's identity. So if it's Cat Turd, trying to find out it's John Smith who lives in Florida, and this is his address, and then trying to tell people where this person lives.
That's two more examples really quick. Two more examples. when there was the George Zimmerman situation where he got attacked by Trayvon Martin. Spike Lee found the name and the address of somebody named George Zimmerman in Florida, and he put it out on Twitter. Essentially, I forget what he said. He put their information of where to go find them. Those people had to move out of there. They were like 80 and 85-year-old retired grandparents. The whole neighborhood was just terrorized because of this. Like, I don't know why he wasn't arrested for that. There was a situation where LeBron James, who was radically indoctrinated by Barack Hussein Obama, LeBron James quickly
He's a useful idiot to push propaganda. He was used.
There was a situation right around Akron, where he's from, I believe, where some girl was attacked by another girl with a knife. And a cop rolled up, got out, and shot the girl who was doing the attacking. And LeBron James doxed this guy and essentially put a hit out on him by doxing them. That's exactly what you're doing by giving the address. You want to harass and cause harm or death to the person. That's the sole intent of putting an address out there. So when
they did it to libs of TikTok too.
Information, when you SWAT them, you try to say, hey, there's a hostage situation at 1234 Maple Street. Quick, we need you there. Well, 123 Maple Street is where Alex Jones broadcasts, or where Russell Brand lives, or where Tim Pool is doing a show, or where Cat Turd is at. But that's exactly what LeBron James and Spike Lee did to rile up this racial nonsense, this pseudo race war that they're addicted to pushing because of the Barack Hussein Obama influence. Everything about America has gotten 100 times worse because of Barack Obama and the politics of the past 15 years that have followed. It's just been so disappointing. Somebody that could have really had a unique opportunity, a unique moment in time to become a uniter. He has been the exact opposite. It's hard to pin the behavior of Spike Lee and LeBron James on Barack Obama. Like, now you're starting to sound crazy, but Obama politicized everything. He had these people to the White House. He was this rock star president people loved to love. He was behind a lot of this stuff, a lot of the Hollywood stuff, a lot of the entertainment, sports, television, movie, industrial complex. They all talk.
Okay, that was the long version of explaining what swatting was, but yes. All right,
that's what I meant. Yes, please continue, Blake.
Okay. Well, in this case, Cat Turd, he's saying he swatted during his podcast. A caller pretended to be him and told the cops that he had stabbed someone, had a gun, and was going to kill myself. So then that gets the SWAT team, the police, to come down awesome. And invade to try to go, But people can get killed in the middle of these things because they don't know what's going on. They're trying to believe your story, and there could be collateral damage. So
every one of these is an attempted potential. Every one of these is attempted murder.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's sad that it has gotten to this point where we can't have a civil political discourse. I mean, you really are going to get you're worried about this a cat sock puppet. I mean, there are some real stupid people online that are on those, especially on the leftist side, but they're easy to call out and prove wrong, or to troll with on Twitter, and that's still in a civil way, even though you could say something technically awful. But to actually try to pretend like there's there's murder going down, there's guns, and that you find out where they live and you call the SWAT team to go raid their house, that's taking it levels beyond that it never should. And it's sad that they can't do a better job of finding out who these people are, but I don't know how the tech side works on that. But that's the latest that happened to Cat Turd. So glad he's okay, and he gets to fight on another day. But sad stuff. Leftists are really they're getting totally unhinged. So
okay, well, let's move on past this one. Anything else to add on this?
I don't think so. Not on Cat Turd, unless you got something.
No. It's
All
just
right.
it's showing what they're doing because they're completely out of control. They are flailing, they are lashing out, they are losing. They know that their time is up. It feels like the opposite, like nothing is going right, but they know. And that's exactly why they're going after Rumble too. They're not just going after people, they're going after the platforms. So let's discuss the Rumble one. All right, Blake, agree or disagree here that Rumble should be removed from everything forever until they obey new internet safety laws. Agree or disagree?
I am going to disagree, and it's really sad that they're going after Rumble now. It's one thing when they can kind of control, YouTube and Facebook. They did, control Twitter for quite a long time, and or Instagram. But they don't like the fact that some of these patriots that have been removed from some of these other platforms are able to thrive to some extent on Rumble, even though it's a fraction of the amount of traffic that YouTube receives. But they don't like, the different points of view that are not don't come from the state. So let me see if I can find. Brian, is a tweet from you from this morning.
Here, let me pull that up.
Oh yes, thank you.
There we are. Okay.
Not used to the two-step process. But Brian saying, yes, resist, defend against more internet censorship, protect Rumble. We need platforms, allow First Amendment protected speech, and the ability to earn an income from our work. YouTube and Facebook violate civil rights and censor speech. And this is in response to a Tim Pool tweet talking about Russell Brand, set to tumble. Russell Brand's refuge platform Rumble may be forced offline under new internet safety laws. So they keep trying to push new extremes and to try to control news and information. So they don't want they want everything to be the countervailing view. They'd rather we're not speaking right now, Brian.
Oh, they don't want our countervailing views. No. They think they have the only answers, which makes you know they're lying.
Right.
They are going after us 100%. There's no way around it. The Rumble. Now, when I posted that, I obviously got what I knew was going to be the pushback. It's like, well, private platforms, you don't have. It's like, no, just enough. Enough. Like I'm over this part of the argument and the discussion. I don't know if it has my reply on there. I don't know if you could see that because I had to
took it down. All
That's
right.
fine.
All right.
It's just, you can't hide behind being a publisher as a platform. You can't pretend to be a platform if you are a publisher. Either leave everything up, and if nothing is overtly criminal, everything stays up, or you're a publisher and you lose some of your protections. This isn't about private companies. This isn't about, well, you have the right to speech, but you don't have the right to reach. See, they don't have to multiply the thing that you're saying. And that's just not how this works. There we go. Well, I said this as well. I said, and there it is. In response, this person says the First Amendment protects you from the government only, and you don't have a civil right to use somebody else's private property for your speech. Oh, I could put it on the screen. It doesn't matter. That's what they said in response to that tweet. I said, and there it is. Anti-freedom activists try to ruin X and Rumble because the free speech there is too free. That's a civil rights violation. That's government colluding with those ADL type of groups to go after Dave Portnoy, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, us, the New American Media, Russell Brand, and others for wrong think. So they just try to outsource. It was like when rendition was happening, Blake. You remember rendition? Oh, no, America does not participate in torture. Well, yeah, we're paying militants in Northern Africa to run torture houses. No, America's not doing it. Okay, see, down in Guantanamo Bay is a different story. But rendition was you're paying somebody else $100,000 to go do some of your dirty work. It's wet work. Of course, we're behind it if we're the ones doing it. Who's at war with Russia? It's not Ukraine. It's the United States of America. And we didn't vote for this. So just off-sourcing and saying, well, it's a private company. You have no protected rights to use a private company. It's like, no, the government has taken over the private company. They've shut the private company down. They've sued them into oblivion. They've accused them and they've went on defamatory campaigns to starve them of ad revenue. And a lot of these non-governmental organizations are funded by governments. The governments give a $5 million grant to the Tides Foundation or pick your goofy program. And then they go do the dirty work, and the government's like, no, I didn't do it. It's First Amendment. No, anybody. I mean, I can't control what's on and not on Facebook and YouTube. It's like it's been ran by the CIA for how many damn years, and they've been censoring anybody who doesn't want to repeat the lie. 2 + 2 = 5, right? No, it's never deleted, silenced, shadow banned, demonetized. You're like, this is deeply criminal. There are civil rights protections that we have that are being trampled on by Barack Obama's government. Yes, I know Biden is the puppet now, but I'm just making that point, Blake. So, yeah, I got a problem with this, and you can't really say it's private and it's government, and there's a separation there when it's all merged together in this awful fascistic blend that we currently have. So, yeah, Rumble's in the crosshairs now, Blake. And Rumble was the last refuge for all of us that were tired of dicking around with YouTube, tired of playing their games, putting 1,300 videos up over 12 years, interviewing very influential people across the globe and putting out cutting edge content, telling you the truth when other people were lying to you. Yeah, we were thrown by the wayside. So we went to Rumble. Now they're going after Rumble.
Right. They can't have a free speech platform anywhere to, challenge any narratives that they're putting out, and they're really cracking down in Europe. And thank you, Jocelyn, for putting this stuff. The European Parliament passed the Digital Service Act July 22, went into effect last August, so just a month ago. If any information from the U.S. goes on the internet in Europe, it must abide by these rules. Yeah, they're going to try to use those rules to crack down and limit things on Twitter or X and also Rumble. I did have another article, but I removed it from my stack. But yeah, basically going into exactly this and outlining it. European Parliament passed, I think I've got all of that. But let me pull up another point, which is very interesting. Well, we got a few. First of all, we got Tucker Carlson that's been sitting on the screen here saying, don't be intimidated by the censors. Tucker Carlson urging Americans to fight back by telling the truth. This brief clip here in Utica, Michigan, expressing his deep concern over widespread acceptance of dishonesty in public life, lamenting what's true. The true things are the things that you can't say, for the most part. But yes, it should be a free platform of different ideas, but not when the deep state wants to control the narrative and control reality, especially when they are involved in perhaps some evil stuff. Now let's take a look at this. Speaking of, we got another RFK clip along with Ben Swan, the great independent reporter. Let's take a look about why was the CIA at a pandemic simulation event in October 2019. This is kind of one of these clips that they don't want you to see. You're not going to find this on YouTube. So let's check this one out.
Event called Event 201, a pandemic simulation that took place in October 2019 in New York. What is the CIA doing in a pandemic simulation? They're not in.
Yeah, interesting point. Why is our CIA involved in a pandemic simulation for public health?
Public health agency. What they're talking about is using this pandemic as a pretext for clamping down totalitarian control. And the first thing they said is, we got to limit free speech.
We have to limit free speech.
Can't allow people to criticize government policy.
We can't allow people to criticize government policies, because if they had their way, nobody would ever say anything about Wuhan or criticizing Fauci, or asking where did this virus come from? Did it really come from a wet market, or did it probably escape from the lab?
We cannot allow people to talk about a lab leak. They're doing this in October of 2019, before anybody of us have ever heard of
October 2019, months before anybody had heard of COVID, before this lockdown, for any of this crazy stuff.
Wuhan.
I believe in the idea that we shouldn't be trying to control.
Of course. I think I paused it enough times to give it enough for the buffer, but it still did not roll. But yeah, why is this the CIA lady? Pandemic simulation event, October 2019. They are there.
I believe in the idea that we shouldn't.
Eisenhower warned us about before Uncle JFK took over as president, about the warnings of the deep state and the military-industrial complex. They do not have our best interests in mind for America and the Constitution. And this is not going to run anymore. But I think I've covered most of the highlights here.
Okay.
And of course, even Tucker Carlson, U.S. government intervened to stop his interview with Putin. So Tucker paid the ultimate price. No, not the ultimate, but he was removed. He was the number one list. Yep, he was the number one host. When he had that Ben Swan, they basically trashed his career for talking about a pizza parlor in D.C. And we won't go. Well, we will get into that a little bit, because there's another story we're going to get to in today's episode. But it's good to see him fighting for free speech. So we do have a few, but this is what they don't want you to see. So massive censorship. And of course, they don't want RFK to run against Joe.
So real quick, what happened with Tucker? What kind of intervention? This was just this week, or they were talking about when he was at Fox News? That they intervened to keep Tucker from talking with Putin.
Yeah, he was just making a speech somewhere in Michigan, talking about the censorship, and encouraging Americans to fight back. Well, yeah, we all need to. Whatever it takes. So if it's not YouTube, or if it's not Facebook or Instagram, then we'll do it on X. And if we'll move to Rumble, that's fine too. But there, of course, the deep state, the tyrants are going to try to shut us down. So we have to fight for the future. We have to fight for this country, and we will. So,
all right. Well, let's bounce away from the Rumble story and talk to an NBC story. If we're going to discuss the CIA running media ops, this is as good a place as any to stay
good
involved.
Segue. All right.
Did it work? All right, Blake. By the way, I'm asking, what is DSA? Is that deep state agencies? Digital Services Act. That's what Jocelyn is referencing. DSA, Digital Services Act. Okay, got it. It's also deep state agencies. Two awful things that really shouldn't be awful or exist in the first place. Okay, Blake, agree or disagree that if Trump is reelected, or when Trump is reelected, he should investigate NBC News for treason? Agree or disagree?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is NBC, and it's actually NBC, MSNBC, and General Milley that they were calling out for treason. And yes, they've been lying to the people for a long time, and there has to be consequences eventually for that and for the lies. And Trump has already said, the media is the enemy of the people. Some of these people are probably in the CIA. That's kind of an open secret too. Whether it's CNN or MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS, a lot of these legacy media outlets.
Fox is right there.
Do. And don't forget Fox. So it's on both sides as well. They had to get rid of Tucker. They also got rid of Lou Dobbs. So they do. They have to control the narrative, control reality. And so let's see if I can pull up a story. Here we go. Trump saying MSNBC and NBC News will be investigated for country-threatening treason if he is reelected. He has vowed. Let me see if I can reboot this, because I know there was some kind of video that they pulled. It was, well, I guess it was off of truthsocial.com, but having trouble with the embed there. So I don't actually know what video is even there, but maybe it's one from Trump.
I could pull it up. You don't have the embed, but
no,
you have to double click.
It's not there. There was another article too. Is the same thing. So Trump took aim at the company for their relentless pushing of the Russiagate conspiracy theory, in particular, which he called a big campaign contribution to Democrats, saying that their endless coverage of the now fully debunked scam known as Russia, 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 and much else is one big campaign contribution to the radical left Democrat Party. So the former president vowed that when he wins, they and others of the lamestream media will be thoroughly scrutinized for their dishonest and corrupt coverage. So why should NBC or any other corrupt and dishonest media companies be entitled to use the very valuable airwaves of the USA for free? So it's kind of like flipping the script there. They want to shut down us and X and Rumble. And then Trump is saying, hey, you guys have been knowingly pushing lies for years and aiding and abetting the criminals in the Democratic Party. So maybe they should be shut down. And I'd like to know who is in CIA and who's not. We know that probably half of the CNN crew is, and I'm sure Rachel Maddow and some other big names are as well. They get their marching orders from intelligence agencies and the DNC. And going a step further here, we got Trump and the GOP representative Paul Gosar suggesting Joint Chiefs boss Mark Milley, this is actually ironically out of NBC, and suggesting Mark Milley deserves death. Well, they're saying he should be brought up for treason. Former President Donald Trump and Republican Paul Gosar of Arizona suggesting outgoing chairman of the Joint Chiefs Army General Mark Milley was a traitor. And yeah, that's because Trump blasted Milley in a social media post that accused Milley of going behind Trump's back by making phone calls to Chinese counterparts in the final months of Trump's administration. And that is absolutely treasonous behavior, even if you don't like Trump. But to go to the communist Chinese people and cozying up with them and to try to act like you're going to alert them if there's any issues with your and throwing your crazy president under the bus, that is treason. So I'm not saying that the guy have a trial.
It's obvious
the evidence, but
obvious treason. I mean, he went there. He's like, if anything were to happen, we wouldn't allow it to happen. So if he makes threats, don't take him seriously. It's like, where is the court martial? Where is the trial for this? This guy was subverting what the commander-in-chief was doing. I mean, in the Revolutionary War, they lined people up. If treason was afoot, they lined him up and took care of it. I mean, Milley completely threw his president under the bus. That is literal treason. No hyperbole here. And it's fairly well documented, right? This isn't really something Milley disputes, is it?
No, we're saying it's Milley behind his back.
Wasn't he bragging about it?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, because he was acting like Trump was so insane that he had to make sure that he had the lines open with the Chinese counterparts in the final months of the administration. So, and if the fake news reporting is correct, Milley was actually dealing with China to give them a heads up on the thinking of the president of the United States. So if he was in, like I say, a secret meeting, meeting with, the general talking about certain things that, I guess he's going to go to them, go to the Chinese and say what President Trump said. I mean, it's an act so egregious. This is a quote from Trump, that in times gone by, the punishment would have been death. So the war between China and the United States could have been the result of this treasonous act. So Milley in September 2021 told Congress that he had made it clear to Chinese officials that Trump was not planning to attack China in his final weeks as president. And he was saying, my message again was consistent: stay calm, steady, and de-escalate. We're not going to attack you. But that he's going to have this, open line with what should be, an enemy of sorts. Not entirely. We have to be try to have a good, working relationship with a superpower. But to have one of our own generals more loyal to a foreign adversary than he is to his own president is treason.
Blake, I got a question for
Yeah.
you. As we're talking treason.
Yeah.
And this is a question of the day for everybody in the chat room. How often do you think of the Roman Empire?
That is one of those things I'm hearing a lot about. I guess I've always been thinking about that for 10 years and the parallels of this country falling, the great empire falling much of the way that the Romans fell. And the bread and circus, there's a lot of parallels here.
There really is. There really is. And we're so on the verge. We are teetering perilously close to the edge of this thing. Yeah, I saw a president that had strength, and I saw a president that kept us out of foreign wars for the first time in my life. You can nitpick on President Trump a million ways from Sunday. I can't dispute that. And you probably have maybe 5 things, maybe even 10 or 15 things I have no response for. I couldn't possibly argue any differently. But on the global front, we had somebody that acted with power. He reshaped what countries had to pay their fair share for NATO, and why are we even in NATO? The WHO. Why is everything a United States gravy train? Who determined that we're going to get fleeced at every single interaction on Earth? And by the way, yeah, we're going to stay strong and we're going to boost our military. Trump spent too much. I can't dispute that. That's a thing. But he used it revitalizing the military, and he did not get us into some unnecessary foreign conflict. That's exactly the type of leadership I want in the White House. I don't want Joe Biden ignoring Hawaii, ignoring East Palestine, Ohio, and just money laundering incessantly through Ukraine. Nah, that's not leadership. That's bribery. That's blackmail. That's treason. That is really next level. But I could pivot there from one.
Hold on. I got one more quick one to add to this. And it's in fact me trolling one of the arch neocons here of the previous administration, who is still spewing propaganda and lies on Twitter. So let's take a look at this from Bill Crystal. He looks like he's freaking out here. He says, shouldn't this be the first question at Wednesday's Republican presidential debate? What do you each think of Trump's suggestion that General Milley should be tried for treason and that NBC News should be shut down? Is Donald Trump fit to be president? Could you still support him? So it seems to me, yes, he's worried and he's trying to fish out to make himself feel good that, he wants to make sure that and Trump is the crazy one and protect the swamp creatures and the deep state establishment, when we've just pointed out they've been involved in a lot of problems. Yeah, General Milley was wrong. Whether it should be treason or not is another story, but the NBC, MSNBC, they've been spreading lies that Russia investigate. That was all BS. It was a fishing expedition. So they should face some kind of consequences for that. But I called them out and I said, yeah, actually this sounds good to me. Start with Milley and NBC. But don't worry, Bill. We haven't forgot about all of you PNAC plotters. Get in line and wait your time. And I do, because I don't know if everybody knows what PNAC is, but that's the Project for the New American Century. that was established in 1997 by a number of leading neoconservative writers and pundits to advocate aggressive U.S. foreign policies and rally support for American global leadership. And of course, the founder is Bill Kristol. And they had just kind of lined up all of these Middle Eastern countries that they wanted to invade, including Iraq. The invasion of Iraq, helping unite key figures from various ideological factions behind the cause. So a lot of these people were in the Bush administration. And this set up this whole BS war on terror, led to the Patriot Act, all kinds of stuff. This is the awful neocons that set things up and paved the way for a radical leftist like Obama to take over. So this is the dark side of the right neoconservatives. So anyway, wanted to point that out. He's bad news. They were bad news. They were wrong on a lot of that stuff. We didn't need to get into that Iraq war for the reasons, but it was foreign policy set up by this think tank with Rumsfeld. It's basically a who's who of the worst of the neocons that pushed us into all of these wars and benefited from that. Anyway,
it's a special kind of person that will manufacture an unnecessary war to ensure thousands are killed so that they can hit some bonuses, so that they can go on an extra vacation this year, so that stock prices can go up 10%.
Yeah.
So that somebody can make another couple million. It's astonishing the price that you pay to sell your soul. A lot of talk in my sports group called the Unhappy Hour Sports Show about Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, of course, now he's with the witch. You've seen that, right? He's with
Taylor
the witch.
Swift?
Yeah,
You're
Taylor's doing a lot.
lot.
No. Like her videos, she's practicing occult stuff and like a witch's coven, and not all occult is bad. Just being a witch is not bad.
That's a story in our stack about a witch.
Oh, do we?
Not her.
Do we have that? Oh,
it wasn't her.
We do have another witch story. Yeah. See, I was going to go from foreign war to foreign war. I was going to talk about Trudeau and Zelensky, but we are talking about witches. So, okay, let's go to that one.
Taylor Swift thing too. I didn't know that. So I heard the Kelce rumors. That's going to be this new crazy.
There's no rumors.
Couple,
they're together,
but it's like a PR. Is it a PR stunt? Are they actually like together? Are they actually in love, or is this like a business thing?
Yeah, who knows? What's the difference? Ask Bill and Hillary. They don't know what the difference is.
It's an arranged marriage. Yeah, or ask Obama and Michelle.
And the chef. Ask the chef.
And the chef. Well, too bad we can't anymore.
Yeah, so Taylor Swift, she's, there's something occurring where fans are having some sort of memory loss at their shows. It's a phenomenon that has been occurring. Like, you really are hypnotized, put under some of a spell. Some of her new videos have gone into the witchy realm, the occult realm, the paganistic realm. Just, that's not necessarily demonic or satanic per se, but then she's suddenly attached to the hip with Travis Kelce, who is doing Bud Light advertisements, takes a knee in 2017 for BLM, and then he does this commercial all over every game yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't know if you saw it, where he has 2 jabs for Pfizer.
What?
So you can get the flu shot and the COVID-19 shot 2 in 1. So you must get the 2 for 1. So Kelce is Bud Light, Pfizer, Taylor Swift, BLM knee. It's like all of the tropes of like the people who are always on the wrong side of every issue. They're all just kind of merging. Like, his prize for playing the game like a good boy is a date with Taylor Swift. Or there's a lot more going on in this story, and we're about to see way more of it. But Swifties coming over to the NFL is a huge demographic change for the league. And then his jersey sales went up 400%. So, yeah, of course it's a PR thing, but there's a lot of weird shit going on too. He literally just came out 2 days ago as the face of Pfizer. And now here you go.
Wow. What an awful sellout, as Debster is saying. How much money he's one of the highest paid tight ends in the league. He's Super Bowl champion. Why would you need to sell out like that?
And he's from Cleveland. We used to like him, but this is like, yeah. So part of me doing the callback to Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman is because that's where LeBron James, they all put their hoodies on. And he's like, no, it's okay to jump somebody in the street. And if you get shot and killed, that's wrong and racist. And it's like, huh? So like that blurs the lines into taking the knees in sports. That's the Nike, ESPN, ABC divisive party line that they worked and they just ruined sports with. So Kelsey and James, they are all wrapped up in this. They are just, and both from Cleveland, by the way, one from Akron and one from Cleveland. So anyway, it's a really strange situation. But yes, let's move from one witch to another, alleged witch, to another confirmed witch. Now, if I had the foresight and the wisdom, the forethought to pull up an open-faced club sandwich right now, I just switched to a sandwich as we're talking about witches, and it'd be a little chuckle, but I digress. Okay, Blake, agree or disagree that spirit cooker Marina Abramovic is the perfect ambassador for Ukraine? I can't believe this is really happening.
Yep, I'm gonna have to agree. Yeah, this all makes sense. I mean, if we're supporting Nazis in Ukraine, then why not just support Satanism too? So it's all for the wrong reasons. I hope people can finally get this through their head. But I don't know if a lot of the leftists even know who Marina Abramovic is. Very popular in Europe as a performance artist, and very dark and creepy stuff. And I think she was also involved with Lady Gaga and Katy Perry getting involved. And she was also with the Spirit Cooking. She's great friends with Tony Podesta and the Podesta brothers, and probably Hillary Clinton, all of the who's who of these shady occult figures into all their weird, dark witchcraft. But just amazing how they throw it right in our face. Let's see if I can pull up one of these stories. I don't know, Brian, if you want to pull up some of the dark. I forgot to pull up some of the real dark stuff from her Spirit Cooking with the Podestas. There's some horrific pictures.
I honestly don't.
No worries.
I don't want to. I don't want it on my computer. I don't want to go there. I don't want to look at it. It's the grossest of the gross. It's mixing semen and blood and this and that.
Breast milk and making a concoction and everybody drinks it.
And cutting humans into pieces, but they're not humans, they're cakes, or are they? Like it's everything gross you could imagine.
Oh, okay. I'll just take one. This is actually at a start page. Just looking at some of the images when you type in Spirit Cooking and Marina Abramovic. Yes, so she is a very disturbed character into weird art stuff. Ew. Yeah, this is even on the somewhat sanitized Google search. But anyway, let's find the other article here. Zelensky asking Spirit Cooker Marina Abramovic to be ambassador for Ukraine and to help rebuild schools. Like, really? Why would you even need somebody with like a prominent name? And why would you use her? Unless you're into Nazis and Satanism, which this is who are the good guys in this war? Is it the Russians? Or is it? I mean, there's no real good people. This is no good. But we definitely know one side is really dark and evil, and that would be the Ukrainian side now. If we're supporting Azov Nazis and we are promoting Marina Abramovic as an ambassador, then we are not on the good side anymore. So he's asked Marina, the performance artist, to be an ambassador. Fierce critic of Vladimir Putin said the Ukrainian president had asked for her help in rebuilding schools. Yeah, that's the first person I think of if we wanted to rebuild schools. Maybe they can put her artwork in there. I don't know. Or maybe for the school lunch program, right? mix up, all different bodily fluids. She added she's also been invited to be a board member for some organization to continue to protect the memorial as a Holocaust memorial to Jews murdered by Nazis in Ukraine, was damaged by Russian missile attacks, even though we're supporting Azov Nazis. So that doesn't really make much sense. She installed her work crystal wall of crying at a memorial center in Kyiv a few months before Russia invaded Ukraine. And here it is. Here's Zelensky asking Marina Abramovic to be the ambassador of Ukraine, which is an interesting choice. Here she is posing with Jacob Rothschild, one of the most evil satanic families in the planet. And they're both just posing happily in front of the painting, which is called Satan Summoning His Legions, painted in 1796 by Sir Thomas Lawrence. Look at this. It's a total freak show. You got Glenn Greenwald calling this out, how disturbing this is, and some of the other people involved. But this war has taken a really strange turn.
But it's been strange for a while, and we've been onto it for a while. And the people that keep hiding it, the YouTubes, the Facebooks, is the deep state. It's just kind of like it could not be much more clear who the bad people are.
Right? Oh,
they've outed themselves.
Oh, absolutely! It's right on full display. They can't hide it anymore.
What is the Bill Gates thing? Do we have a Bill Gates story in the stack? Oh,
there is one, but we should get into the rest of the Satanism and Nazi stuff going on with Ukraine, because there was a huge story.
Okay,
right.
Okay, I will switch to that. I was just going to reference that circle that Bill Gates is wearing now. He seems to be really proud of this new thing that he's doing.
I didn't even know that one.
Yeah, so there's a pin and it's got all sorts of colors, and it's like the New World Order new pin. So
pull that up while I cover the Zelensky stuff.
And so, Jocelyn, which 4 restaurants in Sedona were outed for spirit cooking?
That's a lot of restaurants.
Huh?
I mean, I've been in Sedona, and there's that beautiful main drag. I love walking around there. It's amazing. Yeah, it's a weird mix, I guess, of the highly spiritual and the satanic. Who would get involved in stuff like that? Yeah, it's just
I went to a restaurant in Austin somewhat recently, and it was like a burger place. And you walk to the back. No. But
overrated. All right. Yeah.
It sort of had me thinking, because it was like they were chopping up all of the meat and make it like fresh from scratch, and it was all. But like as you sat and waited for your food, it was like on the TVs there were bloody horror movies playing, and I'm just sitting here looking at this big, this slab of beef and all this chopped meat and hamburgers, and I'm going, I don't know about this place. I get a weird vibe here. I still ate the burger because I didn't know anything differently at the time. But I have wondered. Kenneth B says he prefers spirit drinking. Okay, well said. Well played, Ken.
Nice.
Well played. Okay, let's get into Zelensky, shall we? All right, Blake, what did you want me to pull up? And I will pull it up, and we'll get to this next topic. What am I looking for?
Your Bill Gates symbol. I haven't seen that one, but we are at the last story. I think is going to be Bill Gates.
Okay, go ahead.
So let's pull up a couple stories here. Speaking of Nazis and this PR disaster, only because they got caught. But Canadian Parliament, is this rolling? Let me pull this up. Here we go. Canadian Parliament, this is out of the Federalist, giving a standing ovation to a literal Nazi while Zelensky is pumping his fist in solidarity. So Canadian Parliament here is from Friday. In case you're wondering how the West's proxy war against Russia and Ukraine is doing, so led by PM Justin Trudeau and his special guest, Ukrainian President Zelensky, the Assembly offered a standing ovation to Yaroslav Hunka, a Ukrainian Nazi who fought in World War II as part of one of the infamous Waffen SS units. Zelensky even pumped his fist multiple times in solidarity. So Speaker Anthony Rota introduced Hunka and even thanked him for his service, vaguely describing him as Ukrainian-Canadian war veteran from the Second World War who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Russians. The admission that Hunka fought against the Soviets, who were allied with the U.S. against the Nazis for the majority of the war, probably should have been a hint. Yeah, these people don't seem to understand history. We had to reluctantly, the United States, along with Great Britain, the Allies, we needed the Soviets to help us fight the Nazis in the war. World War II, we didn't really want to have to cozy up with Stalin, but we needed him. Kind of an enemy of our enemy is our friend, our ally sort of thing. And without their involvement, we might have lost that war. There was the Eastern Front that was brutal with the Russians stomping out the Nazi terrorists. But we're basically kind of redoing a similar version of that war. Now we're supposedly supporting the Nazis, the Azov Nazis, to fight against the Russians. So I think they failed to make that connection, or I'm sure they did know about it, but then they've been forced to backtrack after getting called out on it. So Trudeau classifies this SS fighter parliamentary ovation scandal now as Russian disinformation. Ridiculous reaction as it surfaces that he and Zelensky, they actually met the Nazi personally. Here's the picture of him. So they knew this was happening. They had to have figured this out, that he was a Nazi. A lot of these times, these Nazis get caught. It can be like when they're in their 90s, what have you. They were caught working at a concentration camp. They go to jail, even though they are 90s. But this one was getting standing ovations in Canada. And here we go. This is some Ukrainian fighters, and it shows this is their Nazi past. So if you're supporting the Ukraine war, you're basically supporting Nazis and Satanists now. So here's another story. After celebrating an actual Nazi in Parliament, Trudeau complains about Russian propaganda, which we've already called. Here's a couple more of these pictures here. And there's another one of his little speeches as he has to backtrack. I got Rob Schneider here. Always entertaining, calling. He's just canceled his trip to Canada. He can't. It's beyond the pale. Trudeau's tyranny against peaceful trucker protesters seems insignificant. And of course, they called the peaceful truckers, they called them Nazis. By saying it seems insignificant to the despicable and outrageous act of honoring one of Adolf Hitler's Nazi SS soldiers by the Canadian Parliament. An actual Nazi that fought under Hitler was in Canada being celebrated. I mean, it's just it's
and so this is the celebration of the enemy of my enemy because of my current enemy. That's what this boils down to.
You probably confused me there, but yes, we definitely cozied up with the Stalinist Soviets to fight against Nazis in World War II. But now they're also fighting Nazis again now. And we're, of course, this time we hate Putin. So we're trying to cozy up to Ukraine. Meanwhile, we're getting a satanic ambassador. And one other little weird note I wanted to throw in. This is actually a very old article, not that old, but it's from a year ago, with the ADL, with Jonathan Greenblatt. So he was defending the Ukraine's neo-Nazis because they don't attack Jews or Jewish institutions. Yeah, I don't believe that for a minute.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know, it just continues to get more absurd. But there it is. I think Jake Shields, MMA guy, outspoken on Twitter, shared this article. I frequently cover things from Chris Menahan and the Information Liberation, who's been critical of the Anti-Defamation League, who would like to, censor this broadcast and destroy everybody's advertisers on X. But meanwhile, they have this weird double standard. And is there one more? I just guess I just have a quick one, but I guess, oh, this is actually pretty funny. This is out of Becker News that is ridden with, oh my God, overwhelming amount of advertisements here. But Zelensky getting roasted, leaving the Royal York Hotel after his visit with Justin Trudeau. This was pretty hilarious. Let's see if I can play some of it because I do have issues.
Yes, there he is.
Kiss my unvaccinated ass, you little bitch.
Oh, that's him.
All right, I'm going to shut the volume down, but I think we get the idea. So it was not greeted by a warm reception here by the Canadians, who are sick of their leader and they're sick of Zelensky. They're sick of giving money and funding this corrupt regime, both at home and abroad, and they've had enough. So good on them for fighting back again.
Jocelyn is saying she thinks Canada will go civil war before the United States does. We shall see. The people look none too pleased with this Trudeau. I mean, Trudeau's trampled on their civil liberties. He is, I don't know. It's the worst thing that Canada could possibly have up there. We need a strong neighbor to the north, and this is insanity. You don't ever disarm your own people. That's step one. Anyone that has something.
Well, Castro disarmed his people. Stalin disarmed his people. Hitler disarmed people. I mean, all of these awful tyrants, they have to disarm their population so they don't rise up to overthrow them, especially when they're very naughty people.
I will apologize to Jocelyn for not being able to see the comment that scrolled past, but it was something about were the claps so that it was synchronized to set off detonations or something, and that a comedian needs applause. No, occasionally I just get like a little fruit fly. Like I get a couple of fruit flies and I give them, I clap at them and then I go like that because I prefer to not have them buzzing my head while I'm trying to focus on things.
Right.
'Tis the season. It's about to get really cold soon, so those will all be gone, luckily, thankfully. But yeah, where you have a kitchen and you have food and you have scraps and you have a compost pile, you will get a few of those little fruit flies from time to time. That is what that was. But yes, it is something I don't want to do. I'm broadening the podcast empire, so we don't want to just be randomly clapping into the episode. It's probably not ideal. But yes, so Blake, Trudeau, and Zelensky, yeah, it doesn't seem like the people are on their side. You would say they have not won over the Canadians.
Doesn't look like it, and I'm proud of them for. I know we used to kind of tease them for just rolling over to tyranny, but the trucker rally was very powerful, and now this is also great to see this rally. And they probably won't show this on YouTube per se or Facebook, who knows? But yes, it will be live on Rumble and X, and people need to see this. They need to get inspired and to rise up against these tyrants.
Yes, and the fascination with just, you'll even celebrate Nazis as long as they fought against Russians. We really got to get past this stuff, this hard on that the deep state has for going to war, potentially nuclear war with Russia. Enough of this already. You want to declare a war? Go to Congress. Let's see if you have the votes for it, and let's do this. Otherwise, enough is enough already. But that's maybe just my thought. By the way, speaking of what we were talking about with Abramovich, and I do have the pin pulled up. I think we only have one story. Let me pull this up for you. I don't know if you've ever seen this, Blake. It's pretty incredible. But the guy is from your home state, and this is an impression. This is Theo Von talking with Will Sasso. And this one part was very related to the Abramovich stuff. So let's see if you can check this out. Did I pull up the screen?
Well, I'm going to do it right now. Here we go.
Let me know. Is it there?
Yep.
Okay, let's see.
He's from Minnesota?
Ventura on.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. How was that?
He just kept going off. He's like, I'll drink 6 loco. I'll drink 4 times 6. I'll drink 24 loco. And I love America, so I moved to Cuba, he said, or something. It's like
He's in the Baja, I think. Yeah, I don't
That's
even
such
live
an
in the
impression.
continental United States anymore.
yeah,
I'm in the Baja.
yeah, that's what he said.
He is out there. He'll go from, Halliburton orchestrated the BP oil spill. And then the next thing he says is, what's really good is we just tortillas with scrambled eggs. You should come. Would you like to sleep over? I have a spare room that you'd really like. It's woodsy. I've sort of brought Minnesota to the Baja. I call it Baja Soda. Do you ever dine on long pig? That's what the cannibals call human being because it tastes like pork. Oh, I gotta go in 4 minutes. No, stick around. Just getting started. Anyway, the Gulf of Tonga.
Since you've been on, I had
You ever hear that one, Blake?
No, I haven't. That's a fantastic Jesse impersonation there. He's got that voice down. Good stuff. And I'm disappointed with my guy. Jesse Ventura, one of the great Minnesotans. I did so much great work with the conspiracy theory stuff back in the day, and he's gotten really kind of gone off the rails the last several years. I'm not exactly sure what happened. And yes, he spends like half the time in Baja, which is bizarre as well. And I'm sure it's a beautiful place. Great weather, but fallen out of the limelight a bit.
Baja. I called it Baja Soda. Yeah, so this is the pin that Gates is wearing. It's like a 17-color United Nations Sustainable Development Goals pin, like an Our Global Goals pin.
Like the Agenda 2030 United Nations pin.
Yeah, so see, he's wearing this pin a lot now, and that's kind of his. See, it's like behind him. It's like the Trivial Pursuit wheel, if you will.
Yep. I remember that.
So we have a Bill Gates story. I actually have one more story in the stack, but
okay.
Bill Gates, Blake, agree or disagree that Bill Gates has changed his tune on climate change because the narrative is failing? Agree or disagree?
I guess I'm going to disagree. This was shocking when I saw him make this admission, and I think it was like on Fox as I was walking by, and I saw that, and I could not believe that one of the arch globalists, one of the worst of the worst, was actually felt like he was trying to say, hey, everybody just chill. It's not as bad as you think with the climate change. Because usually these people are just, freaking out about it. And we've got to, make drastic changes and cut down population because we're all going to die of global warming. The poles are going to melt and blah, blah, blah. And they've got to control everything. But Bill Gates suddenly abandoning climate doom narrative as populations are pushing back against globalism. Now, I'd like to believe that's why, but I'm not convinced yet. I'm not sure. There's this weird moment where Bill on one thing.
Oh, hold on. I got to pull it. Let me pull it up.
Oop. There we go.
It.
Thank you.
Okay.
All righty. So here it is. This is out of Natural News. Bill Gates, the author of How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, spent the last decade warning audiences that world is overpopulated and subject to impending climate doom. And in order to save the planet, Bill Gates says we must achieve zero net carbon emissions by the year 2050. Of course, it's a hypocrisy because he continues to traverse the world in his private jets, spewing more carbon emissions in 1 year than the average person does in their entire lifetime. And as more people see through the climate change facade and realize how their lives are being exploited by globalism, Bill Gates suddenly changing his tune on the climate doom narrative. Because he was speaking at an event at the Times Center in New York, made a sudden U-turn on his climate narrative. He said, no temperate country is going to become uninhabitable. I don't know if they had a video. I do not have one on this. But he seems to be saying, he's softening his stance. His latest comments are in stark contrast to the public comments he made just 2 years ago when his book on climate doom was first published. So the migration that we saw out of Syria for their civil war, which was somewhat weather dependent, we're going to have 10 times as much migration because the equatorial areas will become unlivable. So it's like almost like we're having this climate, or we're having the border invasion, because these areas are going to be so hot from burning, fossil fuels, they'll become unlivable, and we'll all have to live together in the north. But the opposite is true. So, very unusual to see this backtrack, especially from somebody of his prominence. But that's not so bad. So I'm going to share this quick funny meme here from Sal the Agorist. This poor guy saying, "Doctor, I'm depressed because of the weather in 30 years." And the doctor says, "Well, have you tried super gluing yourself to the street?" Maybe you should. Yes, it's weird because people are freaking out like the temperature is going up so quickly. There are subtle changes in temperature. It's really hard to say because there's different data with the way that you measure things, whether it comes from, from the ground and from weather stations, or if you do satellite, you might be able to make an argument that there's just been a very, very subtle uptick in the temperature in the globe, but that's nothing unusual. This is a 4.5 billion year old planet, and there are little differences. There are warm periods and cooling periods and ice ages and things like that. But to say that we have a major effect on climate is probably unlikely, or that burning fossil fuels. I mean, certainly we want to minimize our pollution here. But the way that they're acting, like, blocking traffic, is a little over the top and is probably too extreme. And even
how
it's backing off. Yep.
I've heard people like Scott Adams before. He said, just kind of always a little too suspicious when something is a little too on the nose. It's like something's just a little too perfect of a story. Like, hold on. If you want to think about the demons, I would imagine the demons would want less humans, right? Like humans are a disease. What was that with Mr. Smith, Agent Smith? And he's talking about they're a virus that replicates. And it's like that whole thing, that whole Mr. Smith phrase about humans being a disease that replicate and blah, 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 and we need less of them. It's a little too on the nose to say, the things that they exhale after consuming oxygen must be the poison. If we remove the poison of carbon dioxide, we will heal Gaia, the great Mother Earth. So we need less humans. Less humans by any means necessary. Tens of millions, nay, hundreds of millions through abortion. Yes. Hundreds of millions through abortion. Then we can take the body parts and experiment on them and use them in facial cream products for Oprah to use on TV. Whatever it takes to have less humans, Blake. Less humans. Less fertile humans, make sure they can't reproduce, make sure that their lives are miserable so they're not going to go out having any stupid kids. They can't afford to live in a house, so they don't want to bring other kids into this world. And then you manipulate these kids from birth with these weirdo teacher unions. And every single year they're taught that they're the problem. They're destroying the planet. They're going to cause catastrophic change. So we need fewer humans. By all means necessary, Blake, carbon dioxide must be stopped. And what do humans release? Carbon dioxide. Therefore, humans must be stopped. That's literally so like that. It doesn't get more on the nose as a supervillain. This is exactly what a supervillain would say. Yeah. So I've always just kind of seen this whole carbon push, a tiny percentage of the atmosphere and a tiny percentage of the atmosphere remotely related to anything we have to do with it. It's always seemed a little bit too cartoonish. So now it seems like even the bad guys are starting to back away from it because it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know if that was just a rare slip up. That's what I have to believe, because this guy has gone out of his way to do everything to seemingly reduce population, whether it's through experimental vaccines or buying up the farmland or pushing the Monsanto, killing the honeybees. And what else? There's so many things that go with Gates, and of course pushing the climate cultism. and trying to shut down.
And by the way, check out
Yeah.
CISA.gov/rumor control and WHO.int and CDC.gov and CDC.gov/vaccine for all things related to climate and cults and Gates and human overpopulation and the love affair with the abortion industry, all of the things. Check all of those sites because they have countervailing views, allegedly. Do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. Maybe
So Bill Gates,
the great
you think it was
humanitarian.
maybe a slip of the tongue,
Yep.
a slip of the lizard tongue, if you will.
Yeah, that's what I think. So I don't think he's changed his tune because people are waking up. I mean, there are people waking up. You got the Dutch farmers, you got Canadians, you've got pockets here and there. Our numbers might be actually stronger, but there are still billions of NPCs and people that have no idea what's going on, that believe all the propaganda without question. And I'm not sure. And we'll follow Bill Gates' instructions. So,
yeah, golden child for some reason. How many times was he at Epstein's Island?
well, he's definitely chumming with him for a long time. He was good friends. They've met a lot. I don't exactly know how many times at the island, but they were certainly friendly for years on a similar page. Yep.
Another golden boy. Another golden boy.
Yeah.
Okay. 1.5 topics left.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I didn't even see that one. I wonder if that went through as a stinger.
Oh, I wasn't
I think we still
watching. I heard it.
Okay. Well, if you heard it, I couldn't see it. Look, we're trying to do this show remotely. We're doing the best we can. Okay, I see it on the YouTube live stream. That's pretty cool. Okay.
So it's a sports.
Blake, agree.
Right.
Say it again.
This is a sports question.
Agree or disagree that it's time to restore the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians, Blake?
Disagree. I think it's over.
What?
Yep.
What?
I know. I got to take this stance. And I actually agree with this is one of Jesse Ventura's old things. He didn't like the Redskins either. I think the Redskins, it's an awful name. I'm not personally offended. I don't care if people want to vote for it and bring it back. That's one thing. I'm not going to fight against it. I just always thought sounds creepy. And I think it is sort of borderline racist. It's franchise has been around a long time. I'm not in favor of, tradition and just out of the sake of tradition. I'm always in favor of trying to, make things progressive, to make things better, to improve, to make things more efficient, what have you. I think that's a terrible name. And I'm a big football fan, and I used to play a lot of football video games. But I always hated the Redskins. I hate the name. I hate their colors. I hate the stupid, the guys in the dresses and the people with the pig noses and their mascots, the red and yellow colors. I've never liked the Redskins. And yeah, it's a creepy name. And I think the Commanders is better. And Cleveland Indians, is always pretty harmless. But I don't. I think the Guardians is actually a pretty good name. So I don't really hate that. But I'm not a conservative. I'm not a traditionalist. So I think they've made improvements. I don't see those are controversial things that do upset certain people. And I just think that's better off just not having them. So I guess that would be my take on it.
I want them back. I want them back.
Why?
Let me read you the story.
Because it's traditional, or there's a good reason for it?
Well, I'll tell you about this, and some people here agree with my perspective, but these are people who are allowed to have an opinion. A Native American group has filed a lawsuit against the Washington Commanders in federal court this morning that upends a long-standing cancel culture narrative about racism in sports. The Native American Guardians Association accuses the NFL franchise and new owner Josh Harris of defamation, civil conspiracy, and civil rights violations for their role in suppressing Native American history in a complaint filed in the U.S. District Court of North Dakota. NAGA led a viral petition this summer demanding that the organization reclaim its traditional Redskins identity. and it generated 150,000 signatures. By the way, it says here there's a related story that the Native American group that wanted the Redskins removal was funded by George Soros Foundation and other leftist organizations, by the way.
This has been going on a long time. This is way before Soros. Hold on. This has been a controversy for over 30 years. So it's
but reason number one why I don't want the teams to be changed is because you cannot let the leftists win. Okay. You cannot let them take an inch. They will take a mile. They will take what's bigger than a mile? 2 miles. All right. They'll take a galaxy. So just in that general regard, no. There may have always been a small number of people that wanted to destroy. They don't create, they just destroy. They look at things and say, this should not exist. I don't like these people. I don't like what they're doing. I don't support their efforts and endeavors. So it says here in this lawsuit, it says, quote, the Commanders is a fitting name for oppressors. It says the group seeks $1.6 million in damages and a seat at the table to share Native American history. So they're, they said this lawsuit is an FU to the NCAI and an FU to the Commanders and to cancel culture. Plaintiff attorney Chad Laveglia says the name Redskins carries deep cultural, historical, and emotional significance, honoring the bravery, resilience, and warrior spirit associated with Native American culture, the NAGA complaint states. The Redskins were the only team in the NFL to honor an actual Native American. And this is actually Blackfoot Chief John Two Guns Whitecalf. Served as the inspiration for the Redskins logo representing the franchise on the field from 1972 to 2020. So I don't like that my Cleveland Indians were disappeared. I think that's wrong. Washing culture and removing interesting components to society. I love my Chief Wahoo. I love my Cleveland Indians. Maybe we could have kept Chief Wahoo and called them the tribe, just because the term Indian isn't accurate. It's not defamatory. It's not a slur. It's just not accurate. But to call them indigenous is not accurate either, because these are nomadic peoples. These are peoples that crossed the Bering Strait, that went into South America, that went up through Canada, that went everywhere. These were not people that owned this land, that are from here. They're not indigenous to here. They are nomadic. So if we're going to be super careful about all of our terminology, fine, so be it. But the term Indians wasn't derogatory. Chief Wahoo's the coolest logo in sports history. The biggest smile, the happiest character. It's just like, yay, go tribe. And it was named after Louis Sockalexis, the first player that broke the Native American barrier in Major League Baseball. The same team, the Cleveland Indians, that had Frank Robinson, the first black manager in baseball. By the way, this is the Cleveland Indians team that had the first black player in the American League, Larry Doby. This is an organization that stands for crossing all of these cultural boundaries. The team name used to be called the Naps, the Cleveland Naps, named after Napla Joey. Then they were named the Indians after, I think we had 3 players on the team at the time, and kind of after Louis Sockalexis. So I don't like losing that history, Blake. Call me old-fashioned, if you will.
Old-fashioned, yes. I don't care about the Indians. I don't think is that offensive. I don't see why they had to go change that. And yeah, the Chief Wahoo thing, I think it's pretty innocent. I just, it's something about just Redskins. It just never sat well with me, and I understood it. And it was kind of like, if these people are feeling like this is, a slur or it's inappropriate, then maybe we should just get rid of it if it's causing that much controversy. But I don't, again, I don't just defend tradition just because of its tradition. Is it an improvement? Then let's go for it. So that's just always been my mentality. So fine, I would just say, hey, split it. Bring the Indians back if they want it. And if people want to vote the Redskins back, then so be it. I'm not going to stand in the way. I'm not going to fight for it. But I've just always thought it was creepy, and I've always just hated everything about that culture. The Redskins are like just like sure they were like trashy football team to me. With Dan Snyder again with the mascot, the pig, and the guys with the dresses, the hogs, and the color schemes, the red, the name. Like this, I've just never liked them for several different reasons. So
it's so interesting. I had a Facebook memory pop up. This might have been from 7 years ago. I was at the airport going from Los Angeles, probably, I don't know, I'm guessing to Cleveland, laid over somewhere along the way in Phoenix or Vegas or Colorado, Denver or something. I don't know. And I was at a restaurant at a bar with this guy named Lucky. This guy was fun. He was funny. And he said something to me. He's like, I'm an Indian. He came over. So I was wearing my Chief Wahoo hat. Something similar to this. Not exactly, but something similar to that.
Okay.
And he's like, I like your hat. I'm like, I like it too. He said, hey, my name's Lucky or whatever. And he's like, I'm an Indian. Yeah. What did he say? He said, I'm an Indian. Dot, not feather. I'm like, oh, dot, not feather Indian. Okay. But he liked Chief Wahoo. He's from India, the place that Christopher Columbus, I mean, everything about Columbus is wrong, fine, whatever. But, he mistakenly thought he had landed in India. So these people were called Indians. It's not quite accurate, but Lucky from the country of India loved Chief Wahoo. He said, I'm dot, not feather. And he goes, but I'm also Sikh. He goes, so I'm 7-Eleven, not 9/11. I was like, oh my God, Lucky, what are you doing? You're hitting me with all these jokes. What's happening? I don't know. Maybe he had knocked a few back and he was feeling it, but the dude cracked me up we talked for a long time. And it all started because I had this lovable logo on my hat, Chief Wahoo, who we love and miss and want back on our team. But yeah, I'm a traditionalist. Jocelyn saying she still has a Cleveland Indian shirt that her dad gave her in 1978. Yes, Cleveland does rock. Thank you, Kenneth B. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Jocelyn was also saying that it's the peak of tourist season over there. And she said they're out of gas in Sedona.
Wow.
So here's a question to anybody out there. How is your gas situation? Is it going through the roof? Are we out of it? Because, by the way, this isn't just we have 10 million sleeper cells ready to attack, to get activated in the full and final overthrow of the United States when the power goes out. We've also depleted our national strategic oil reserves. So it's not like you're even going to be able to fill your car tank up and get anywhere to escape. Like when it happens, it's going to be really bad, guys. I don't know. We just went from Cleveland Indians and sports team names to like fight or flight survival, but I'm basing it off your comments and I can tell there's some energy there. Blake, is the gasoline situation good where you are?
Oh, it's great here, but I've heard just nothing but horror stories from California and Vegas. It's just outrageous. I think I heard Vegas was almost like $6 a gallon. I don't know. But maybe that's an exaggeration. I'd have to take a look. I'm gonna have to investigate. But yeah, Vegas was really high. California's already been the highest in the country. It'd be alarming to have Sedona. Sedona's kind of isolated out there.
Very.
It's not real easy to get to, tucked away. So that would be problematic. But no, here in Tennessee, it's great. And I'm sure it's probably pretty good in Kentucky, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than Los Angeles. I can tell you that much for certain. I did want to just kind of add this as a final caveat to wrap up today's program. The Agree to Disagree show on the new American media, because the old American media failed. Follow Blake. He's on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley, and his website is called thenextlevelnews.com. But this is Stoicism, and I just wanted to kind of add this. Why do I think about the Roman Empire on a daily basis? Stoicism is a school of Hellenistic philosophy that flourished in ancient Greece and ancient Rome. The Stoics believed that the practice of virtue is enough to achieve eudaimonia, a well-lived, flourishing life. The Stoics identified the path to achieving it with a life spent practicing certain virtues in everyday life, such as courage or temperance and living in accordance with nature. It was founded in the ancient Agora of Athens by Zeno of Citium around 300 BC. So just Stoics like Seneca or Epictetus, I would encourage anybody to just maybe, I think there's a site called Daily Stoic. You might have seen him on Rogan or on the YouTube channels, but just look up Stoicism. There's so much great wisdom in there, Blake, just about better ways to live our lives and kind of how to deal with the ups and the downs and whatnot. But yeah, as I ponder the Roman Empire on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, you know, I do it for more than just the collapse factor. I do it more than just the bread and circuses factor. I do it because Stoicism is so important to me.
That's good stuff, Brian. Yes, as this comes into our culture, and it's good for people to pay attention, because they didn't have anything else to compare themselves to back then, and now we can learn the lessons of history, or we're going to be doomed to repeat them.
Well, the lessons of history here. Jane Meyer is commenting.
Hey.
She got her opportunity to chat back. Welcome back. Hi, guys. And she says we have a similar interest in books, especially the 1 second after books, which were a game changer for me. Order them. Just order them. Blake, have you read 1 second after?
No, I know of it, though. Isn't that where like the EMP goes off and then civilization? Sure. That could happen. Yeah, it could happen with a good big solar flare. So that's what I'm anticipating, but it could be an EMP. But it looks like our civilization is heading for collapse. Hopefully not. But yeah, whether it's the Roman Empire or solar flare or an EMP attack or a nuclear war with Ukraine or get wiped out by experimental jabs or what have you, we're in for quite a ride. I don't see it's going to get worse before it gets better, but hopefully Trump or RFK Jr. get it 2024, take back our country, and maybe we can turn things around. We shall see.
Jocelyn's friend is saying in Long Beach today they filled up her gas tank. It was $6.99 a gallon. $6.99 a gallon.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and these are just average gas prices. Yeah, even for regular, California is the highest in the country. I mean, if you needed like premium fuel, yeah, you're looking at that's the average price is $6. But I mean, if you go into parts of Hollywood, Brian, I mean they're very wildly driving around Los Angeles, and they could certainly go over that, and especially in some kind of hard to reach little kind of touristy spots or holes in the wall. If you get desperate and need gas, yeah, you can see stuff, $7. But Nevada's number 2, not too far behind, $5.60. That's for premium, but still, you're paying over $5 per gallon for just regular old gas. Now, I get pretty good mileage, but I couldn't imagine, getting like 15, 20 miles a gallon, and you're got to pay that much money. It's outrageous. Yeah. Then of course, Brian, as you said, what happens when the strategic oil reserves are out? Then how far is this stuff going to shoot up?
Oh Lord. Yeah, I encourage everybody to get a jug or two of gas. I know you kind of have to rotate through, but I encourage you to get a couple of 5-gallon containers if you have the ability, and just as you run low in your tank, fill it up from that gas container and keep cycling through, and always keep some fresh gas on hold, because you do not want to be in a line when there is no gas to be had. You just don't want to be in that line. Trust me, you want to avoid that line at that gas station. That would probably be the hell on earth.
That happened in the 70s. Fortunately, we weren't, I don't know if we were quite old enough to remember that one, but it happened. It led to the Reagan Revolution.
Yeah, well, look, maybe this disaster, this third Obama term with Biden as his stinking, rotten meat corpse puppet, maybe this is what we're going to need to get us back on track, to see just the stark, harsh reality of what these globalists want to do. Endless war, steal all our treasure, take us down a few pegs, fill our country with invaders, just lower standard of living, make everything too expensive to get by with. Maybe this is what we need. We needed to kind of see the vast difference between what they really want to do and what we used to have. So, yeah, it's an important show we did today. I know we're wrapping up a little silly and definitely got into the EMP stuff a little bit, but it's time, folks. It's time. We're all on borrowed time, so get as ready as you can. Get healthy spiritually, get healthy mentally, get healthy financially, get healthy metaphysically, just all the things. Get ready, get prepared, get trained, get the supplies that you're really going to need, get some extra. And yeah, Jocelyn saying under Agenda 2030, you'll get 15 gallons a month if you have a good credit score, Blake. If you have a good credit score.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work for us. We'd probably get rejected.
No, I don't think so. I think we would be rationed real quick. Would you like to comply next month, or would you like to continue being you? It's like,
just remove all your tweets. Yes.
Yeah. Can't I create another Twitter and pretend it's not me? We know which ones are you, sir. So I gotta like do the Pfizer commercial, and then I get to date Taylor Swift. I don't know. I guess if you're gonna bribe me or blackmail me, I'd rather be bribed with something good than blackmailed with something bad. Okay, I guess I'll play ball like Chucky Schumer. Anyway, yeah. I digress. But Blake, this the part of the show that I miss, and Blake has he's been a trooper in his own regard. Blake is coming off a marathonian endeavor. Blake has been just crushing. But what I was going to say is I enjoy this part once we finish the stack and we could just have a moment or two to skip through and look at some of the comments and everything. So yeah, we got to a couple here, and I like that. It's one of my favorite parts of the show, and I rarely get to do that with you. So thanks for being here today.
I'm usually racing out the door, and then Brian's got to finish up whatever's left. But this is a rare day off, which I am going to enjoy.
Heck yeah. Stuff. This was a good show. I appreciate everything, and we'll end it with Kenneth B's. I can't add it to the screen for some reason, but on the YouTube it says from stoic to so-ick. So-ick. That is what our nation has become. You know what we didn't cover once, Blake, today, the biggest story in the country, other than the invasion. And we covered Ukraine, but we're missing the connective tissue. We didn't even get to that. It's the budget debate. Because they're trying they're saying not another dime until you close this damn border. They're saying not another dime is going to Ukraine. Enough is enough. And it's just like, it's all kind of grinding to this wobbly halt right now. Maybe we could cover it on Thursday. I don't think anything's going to happen tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, let's see. We got the Republican debate Wednesday. Quick note on that too. Thursday's show is going to be a couple hours earlier. Last week, I think we did have, it was kind of spontaneous, but we had to start the show like, 3 hours early? Right. And then this week we have to start at 2 hours early. I don't know if there's going to be a redo of the schedule. We could actually end up moving this an hour early in general, or at least for a while, just to accommodate our changing schedules here. But the show will go on. We'll still keep it on Tuesday and Thursday, and maybe at some point incorporate more when we have a little more availability. But we shall see. So yes, thank you. But it's great to have everybody here.
It's been fun. A lot of good comments. Yeah. A lot of good there were probably 20 things I wanted to incorporate, but everything was flying by too fast, and I couldn't get to everything. But yeah, so we are in all of the places. If you miss us live, you want to check us out. thenewamericanmedia.com is the flagship that hasn't had a lot of love lately, but it will. A good spot is youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Please click subscribe. If you'd be so kind as to press play on a couple episodes and just let them play for a couple hours, just put it on a device and turn the sound down if you wish. Or keep them on in the background while you're doing your house chores. Check out some of our 1,300 some videos over the past 12 years. We need to boost our algorithm numbers so that we can enable monetization again. We used to.
Brian, stop. Just stop. You're not going to get monetized on YouTube. Give me a break.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. All right.
Yes, I am. I used to be.
Time.
No.
That puts you right under the target. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and try to get monetized, Brian. Let's see how quickly your channel lasts.
We need to 4x the viewership numbers. So we've met 2 of the 3 criteria. We have to hit 1 more criteria. It's either like 15 million shorts video watches, or it has to be 4,000 hours in the past 12 months, and we're at 500. So anyway, subscribe to that, because if you miss us live, you will find the whole archive on the YouTube channel. Everything else is on the Rumble channel. That's the New American Media there. On X, we're at American_media_. Blake, of course, is at TV's Blake Walley. And then we're on Instagram. Spotify, we have 2 podcasts up, one for the Unhappy Hour Sports Show and one for the Agree to Disagree Show. So check us out. Blake, I was looking the other day. It looks like I need to enable the podcasts on like 8 other platforms. I've never downloaded a podcast in my life, but I guess we're only on Spotify, and we need to get on Google. We need to get on Something Play. We need to get on all these podcast platforms.
Got to manually insert them, Brian. It's all good.
Yep. Well, that's once the account is set up. But these are all things I'm working on, trying to provide you shows. Even if you miss it live, you have the archive in the Spotify and on YouTube and Rumble. So, yeah. That Will Sasso impersonation was pretty nice, Blake. The Jesse Ventura. I'm glad you hadn't seen that before. It's pretty incredible. Okay, cool. Well, then we will go early on Thursday. You said 1:32. What time were you thinking? Eastern time. Blake is thinking and freezing. He looks to the side and freezes for 20 seconds. It's kind of funny. Yeah, there he is. He's
1 Eastern, 12 Central, 10 Pacific.
1 Eastern. Okay, I think I caught that. 1 Eastern.
Then,
we'll aim for. All right, perfect.
We might have to eventually switch to 2 Eastern.
Oh, your schedule might be changing permanently?
No, mine, yeah, but we'll think about that. Not necessarily for next week, but coming up. We might start doing the show an hour earlier, but we'll see.
Okay, I am open to the options that we have. I have some availability that works. So we will make it happen. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you. Subscribe in all the places. Follow Blake. Follow us, the New American Media, because the old American Media failed you. We appreciate you. We love you. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody.
Take care.